Hey there, my loves. I am Lady Kimberly Michelle, and welcome back to Soul Health Matters. Now, as usual, I like to start with our anchoring breath. Before we go anywhere in the episode, let's make sure that we are fully arrived and we have eliminated any mental distractions so that we can fully receive. So let's start by taking a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it deeply. And then you're going to release it slowly through your mouth. Now, one more time. Inhale. Hold it deeply. And then exhale slowly through your mouth. Unclenching your jaws, relaxing your fingers, dropping your shoulders, and then just take a moment to sit back at ease. Now ask yourself this question quietly. When I show up in the world, who's really showing up? Today's episode is titled, Becoming the One You Portray. Now this is the first of my 10 guiding principles, and I'll be covering these over the next several episodes. So you'll want to lock in and make sure that you don't miss any of these. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can get the principle as soon as it's released. Okay, so I'm asking this one first because sometimes the version of us that shows up at brunch is not the same version that shows up at church on Sunday morning. The one at date night may not be the same person that shows up at work on Monday. The one alone at home may not be the same person walking their dog in the community. Somewhere in the mix, our soul is whispering, "Excuse me, who this?" Okay? We want the real deal, holy feel. Where is the real me hiding these days? Who we present to the world, it shouldn't be a costume. It should be a mere reflection of what's happening on the inside of us. Here's the contrast. We can look good, our hair can be done, our nails can be tight, have the best suit on and looking casket sharp, okay? We can glow up, upgrade, and rebrand. So many different ways we can rebrand. And people can see the beauty on the outside. They can see the changes. They can see the polish. But if we have not done the work, if we have not healed internally, if our inward man has not evolved, then what people feel in our presence, it's not really beauty. What they feel is confusion. Because when the outside shines, but the inside is fragmented, it comes through. And it feels like something unnatural to the people around you. They may not say it out loud, but I promise you, they feel it. So I'm going to share a quick story with you. I remember one day at work, a coworker was assigned to give me a ride to pick up my truck from the shop. As I walked up to his car that morning, I could hear soulful gospel music blasting from his car. It was good worship music, the kind that stirs the soul. So when I got in, it's early in the morning, I was calm and comfortable. But within seconds, when he started speaking, he started cursing, swearing. He was going off every other word. Now, he wasn't cursing at me per se, but just general conversation, right? Now, I'm not saying I haven't dropped a word here or there in my life. I'm not perfect, but some people can't converse without swear words. It's really unattractive. So I paused, not judging, just a little confused. So I asked him gently, "Hey, how do you have this beautiful church music playing in the car, but you're cursing like that?" And then he laughed. He knew I meant no harm, but he laughed a little and said, "Because the Lord knows my soul." And I was so tickled when he said that. But he was right. God does know our soul. But what struck me wasn't the cussing. It was the contradiction. It was the oxymoron. See, to my natural eye, it didn't match. But to my spiritual eye, I could see the misalignment immediately. And maybe someone else might not have noticed. It might have seemed normal to them. But when you are aligned, you feel misalignment quickly. I could see the dichotomy in this situation on sight. And it left me with this question. Are we becoming who we portray in 2026? Or are we performing someone who we're not? See, in that moment, it wasn't about perfection. It was about congruence. Now I'm going to share 3 important points with you in this episode. You may want to write these down, so let's lean in, okay? Point number 1, when who we claim to be and how we consistently move don't align, that is cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance doesn't just confuse others, it fractures us. Yeah. Every time we perform a version of ourselves that we haven't actually become yet, when we keep performing a version of ourselves that isn't rooted in healing, then we slowly disconnect from our original design. Therefore, we're weakening our own self-trust. And when our self-trust, when that erodes, confidence becomes costume jewelry. Anybody used to wearing costume jewelry, the clinky stuff? Well, our confidence becomes like costume jewelry. It's shiny, but it's not solid. It's hollow inside. My second point is becoming the one you portray. It's going to cost you something, okay? It's going to cost you your ego. Yeah. It's going to cost you excuses. It costs you the comfort of pretending. It's also going to cost you some relationships. And here's why. You will find it increasingly difficult to tolerate being tolerated. And I love that so much, I think I want to say it again myself. You will find it increasingly difficult to tolerate being tolerated. Who wants to be in a relationship with someone that's not really present in the relationship? They're just showing up and not really serving a purpose. They don't really like you. They don't really receive you, but they're tolerating you whenever you're in their presence. So when you become the authentic version of yourself and you really become the person that you're portraying on the outside, those type of relationships, they won't stand. It'll also cost you date nights. Let me tell you this, and this has been my own personal experience. I've had to walk away from some relationships and friendships with guys because surface and superficial connections with people who don't align with my core values, they became much more difficult to sustain. It's hard to stay in a relationship if you're not fully there and you're not really into it. You're not really receptive of this person's core values, and you know you're not aligned. You know that the conversation, is going left when they're talking about something that you don't really agree with, and you're just nodding, right? You can't sustain that type of relationship. There is no substance. It's not solid. Integrity, it is expensive. But fragmentation, being fragmented, it's going to cost you a whole lot more. It costs you more because the longer we live split between the image of who we want to be and the reality of who we really are, the harder it becomes to remember who we really are, our original self. And then one day we're standing in the mirror and we're saying, who is this person? And we're asking that question in the mirror, not because we've evolved, but because we're fragmented and we can't make out what we're looking at. Now, my third and most critical point is you cannot sustain what you pretend. Okay? You can't sustainably portray a personality that you have not integrated. If you haven't fully become that person, you can't maintain it. Performance is going to require maintenance over and over and over again, constantly shifting and adjusting to each environment to try to maintain that personality. But embodiment, that's going to require alignment. You know, performance, it always cracks under pressure. Okay? I might say, hey, I never swear, I never curse. But the minute I stump that toe in the darkness of the night, you might get a SHIT out of me. Okay? I'm not perfect. I am willing to admit. Sometimes I'll say something different, but depends on how bad it hurt. I might say, that word might come out. Okay? I'm not perfect. None of us are. But that's just an example. When you are under pressure, the real you will show up. When you've lost the job, when someone tests your integrity, when someone accuses you of something you haven't done, when someone attacks one of your children, the mama bear or the papa bear might show up. But when you've done the work, when your soul is clean and your heart is really healed, you don't have to manage perception or curate a false sense of spirituality. You don't have to perform integrity because you simply live it. Okay? I encourage you to fall in love with your original design. Fall in love with who you are right now, here, today. Yes, we're all growing, we're all becoming, and we're wanting to show up as the highest version of ourselves. But be willing to admit, I'm not there yet. I'm on my way, but I'm not there. Okay? God ain't through with me yet. Becoming the one that you portray, it's not about becoming someone new. It's about closing that gap between who you claim to be and how you consistently show up. People can see it. It's about returning to your original design. The you before survival mode, okay? The you before the masks. God already knows your soul, as the young man said in his car that day. God already knows your soul. The question is, do you? Do you know your soul? Have you fully embodied and embraced who you are on the inside and out? Fall in love with your original form all over again. Not the filtered version, not the polished version, the integrated version. And it's not to say that you can't put your best foot forward. It's not to say that you can't clean up your act for different rooms that you're going to be in, okay? I'm not saying show up to the board meeting acting like, Shaquita around the way. But be fully who you are and understand where your inadequacies are, where your shortcomings are, and give yourself the grace to grow and begin to take the time to become the person that you're portraying. Not in performance, but in an authentic transformation. Here's your anchoring quote for today. We're going to go ahead and have our anchoring moment before we close. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me, and then we're going to have a breathing moment. So here's the anchoring quote. I will become the one I portray, so my soul never has to live in disguise. So let's say that again. Repeat after me. I will become the one I portray, so my soul never has to live in disguise. Now let's take a deep breath in and anchor in that. Hold it for a moment and then release it. I will become the one I portray. Inhale and then exhale, so my soul never has to live in disguise. One more time, slowly take a deep breath. And then exhale slowly. Now, do you feel the alignment in that? I do. If this episode resonates with you, if something inside you felt genuinely comforted and gently invited, I invite you to take the time this week and ask yourself the question, where am I polished but not yet healed? Where am I presenting an image instead of doing the work? And when you're ready to go deeper, to restore your soul from the inside out, only when you're ready, no pressure, but I invite you to journey through the Restored Soul devotional. It's not about performance. It's about alignment. It's about becoming whole in private so that you can show up whole in public. You can find the link in the show description, and you can also go to my website, KimberlyMichelleFord.com. So let's close with our final breath. Deep breath in. Hold it. And then release it slowly. Hey loves, breathe, choose alignment, and anchor in wholeness. And when you show up this week, make sure that your soul never has to ask,